The Bohai Sea is the closest maritime approach to Beijing. In 2003, it served as the proving ground for China's expanding naval strategy, heavily guarded and utilized to project power out into the Pacific. During a mid-April military drill, the People's Liberation Navy deployed the Great Wall No. 61. This was a Type 035G Ming-class submarine, ordered to operate under strict silent no-contact conditions to simulate deep-water combat. The vessel was unusually crowded. Alongside the standard 70-person crew, 13 visiting trainees from a naval academy were packed into the pressure hole. On April 25th, 10 days after the drill began, local civilian fishermen spotted a periscope bobbing aimlessly near the Changcheng Islands. The submarine was drifting freely with the current. When naval recovery teams finally breached the hatches, they found all 70 men dead. They were slumped directly at their stations. There was no flooding, no scorch marks from a fire, and absolutely no signs of a physical struggle. The submarine was perfectly intact. Forensic investigators had to figure out what invisible force could instantly eliminate an entire crew of highly trained sailors without a single one of them fighting back. To understand this, we look at the mechanics of a diesel-electric submarine. On the surface, a massive diesel engine pulls in oxygen, charging the heavy battery banks required for underwater propulsion. When the Great Wall 61 submerged, the crew sealed the hatches, but a mechanical failure occurred. The diesel engine failed to shut down. Sealed off from the outside atmosphere, that running engine acted like an industrial vacuum. It inhaled all available oxygen inside the pressure hole in minutes. This data visualization shows the physiological response to suffocation. The human panic reflex, the instinct to gasp for air, is triggered by a buildup of carbon dioxide in the bloodstream, not by a lack of oxygen. The engine rapidly consumed the oxygen, but didn't replace it with carbon dioxide. The crew's panic reflex was never triggered. They grew tired, lost consciousness, and passed away, completely unaware they were suffocating. A mechanical glitch intersected directly with a quirk of human biology. Together, they turned the submarine into a silent tomb before any single sailor could reach for an alarm. The submarine drifted silently for a full 10 days after the crew died. It remained entirely undetected by the Navy it was meant to defend. The drill mandated strict no-contact protocols to practice evading rival fleets. Instead, the crew successfully hid from their own command structure. Systemic communication failures within the Navy meant that base commanders never realized a multi-million-dollar asset had failed to report back. Lower-level officers operated within a culture of extreme hierarchy and secrecy. Without direct authorization from the highest echelons, no one had the authority or the situational awareness to initiate search and rescue protocols. The crew's fate was sealed by an engine failure, but their abandonment was the result of a military apparatus too inflexible to verify the survival of its own personnel. It took civilian fishermen spotting a drifting periscope to force the military to admit to the worst peacetime disaster in its history. The timing was disastrous for the state's image. As the Navy grappled with the recovery of the 361, China was already struggling to manage the escalating 2003 SARS epidemic. Both events highlighted a pattern of systemic silos. Naval commanders had hidden the missing sub from the military's top leadership for over a week, prioritizing internal secrecy over a rescue mission. This mirrored a crisis in the medical system, where military hospitals in Beijing withheld SARS infection data from civilian health authorities. Information was treated as a state secret, preventing a coordinated response as the disease spread. These parallel failures are examples of fragmented authoritarianism. Power was so disjointed that separate government branches operated in isolation, often refusing to share critical bad news, even during a national emergency. The fallout resulted in a highly visible purge. The Central Military Commission dismissed 4 senior naval officers, including the Navy commander, and demoted 4 others for improper command and control. The Ming 361 tragedy proved a difficult lesson. Rapid technological modernization means very little if institutional secrecy and a broken command structure ultimately leave sailors adrift in the dark.